All right, welcome back to another video. Good to see you. Before we get started, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification bell, and it would really help the channel if you shared this video as well. Let's just get started, shall we? Now, we're talking about 2020 UFAs here. If you haven't seen my last video, part 1, I stress that you go and check that out first, because there's certain things about the salary cap that are important when you consider all this. This year, of course, we have COVID-19. The salary cap may stay close to static to where it is right now, instead of going up to between 84 and 88 million like it was supposed to. Which means a lot of players may be signing for a lot less money, and maybe even for one season. Why? Because next season, the NHL's TV US rights will be up, and that deal could be quite bodacious. That's the only word that came to my mind. It could be twice as much as it was before. Like it was 200 million for 10 years. This could be 400 million for 10 years. Point is, the cap could be going up a lot higher, but the asterisk there is that a lot of players who might be signing these one-year deals will also be in next year's summer UFA bundle as well. So although there'll be more money for teams to spend, there'll be just an overflux of players available. So there you could see a buyer's market in both years. Let's get started first with Tyler Toffoli of the Vancouver Canucks. Now, even without COVID-19, and I'm not going to jump too much into the salary cap rabbit hole with all these signings and guesses in these teams, but Tyler Toffoli, the Vancouver Canucks have they've got some Markstrom still too. They've got some salary cap issues. I could see him staying, in which case they would have to give up a fourth rounder to the LA Kings, which was part of the trade and which saw him come over. But if they don't, I could see some teams who need desperate help on the power play, but just in general in the goals for area. And I'm talking about the Dallas Stars, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Arizona Coyotes, the Nashville Predators, and the Buffalo Sabres. Next up, I've got a goalie. I've got Yaroslav Halak of the Boston Bruins, who's age 35 right now. He's coming off a $2.75 million contract. Now, he's up there in age, but he had another good season. Mind you, playing for the Bruins, who, play a really decent defensive game. Man, this is probably the biggest team list that I have here, because a lot of teams could use goalies this coming season. And although 10 will be UFAs, I think like at least 3 or maybe 4 of them might even retire. So the teams who might be chasing this guy hard might be the Dallas Stars, because Hudobin, his contract is up. The San Jose Sharks, Dell's contract is up, and they're in desperate need of some goaltending, maybe even someone to boost Martin Jones' confidence. The Nashville Predators, I know Pekka Rinne is signed for another year. Maybe they buy him out, because all of a sudden their goaltending stank this season, and it hurt them. The Detroit Red Wings, Jimmy Howard's gone. He might be retiring. He could even get probably more money there than anywhere else. The Chicago Blackhawks, ditto. Leonard's net was traded away. Crawford is up. He'll be a UFA. There's the Ottawa Senators. Anderson will be a UFA as well. The Calgary Flames, they could use a nice veteran to step in there and play with Riddick and help him kind of through the middle part of his career. Next up, let's talk about, I got a bunch of defensemen coming up here. Starting with Sami Vatanen, currently of the Carolina Hurricanes, but he hasn't played a game because he's been injured. He was traded from New Jersey, if you don't remember. And now he's a right-shot defenseman who also plays left D. He's 29 years old, and he's coming off a $4.875 million contract. I think he will be taking a major pay cut regardless of COVID-19 or not. His numbers haven't been great as well the past couple seasons. I'd be surprised if he even hit that 30-point mark, even if he was healthy for all 82 games. So who could use a depth defenseman if he was sheltered somewhat? I'd say the Calgary Flames, the New Jersey Devils. You could see him go back there. The Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights, because both, was it Merrill and Eglund, are UFAs. So that there's a possibility. Next defenseman I have here is Kevin Shattenkirk, currently of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now he's a right shot D. He's 31 years old, coming off a $1.75 million contract. Remember that sweetheart deal that he signed with them after the Rangers bought him out? And he's had a fantastic year with them. He's done really, really well. I'm trying to remember his numbers here. In 70 games, he's had 34 points with a plus 22. Now I know he's probably played with, defensively responsible defensemen like Ryan McDonough, Cernak, that kind of thing. But who wouldn't want to give him a chance? Thing is, he'll probably want to go to a contender if he's going to be signing for that kind of a paycheck again. And so who do I got here? I got 4 teams. I got the Pittsburgh Penguins, because they'll be losing Schultz, or they might be. The Winnipeg Jets, of course, once again. The Washington Capitals. You could see a nice little reunion happening there. And then there's the Vegas Golden Knights. So any one of those 4 teams I see as likely. Next up, another D, and we're talking about the Calgary Flames' current defenseman TJ Brody, who's a left shot defenseman but also plays a lot of right D. And he's 30 years old. He's coming off a $4.65 million contract. I got 4 teams down here, most likely to... I got an itchy nose, sorry. Ugh, stop it. Okay. First off, the Toronto Maple Leafs. If they can't get Pietrangelo, I'd say Brody might be their 3rd or 4th choice amongst defensemen who will be out there as UFAs. Next, the Vancouver Canucks. Tanev is a UFA. And remember, Brody's also a PK specialist as well, so keep that in mind. I also have the Pittsburgh Penguins who might be looking at him, and the Vegas Golden Knights. Next player up, I've got yet another defenseman, and that's Justin Schultz, who I've mentioned a couple times already. He's a right shot D with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's 29 years old. He's coming off a $5.5 million contract, and probably one of his worst seasons since he's been with Edmonton. He had a really good run with Pittsburgh, won a couple of cups, but has been injured for most of this season, and has had his first plus minus at minus 13 in quite some time since he was with the Oilers. And I'm sure he played with, somewhat of a defensive defenseman in Pittsburgh too, but he can move the puck, and he's good at getting out of the zone fast. So who do I see him going to here? The possibilities, I got 4 teams. I got the Montreal Canadiens, I have the Detroit Red Wings, I have the Dallas Stars, and I have the Tampa Bay Lightning. If they can't sign Shattenkirk, maybe Schultz could slide in there nicely and fit it good with them. English. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Next up, next player we've got is Josh Levo, currently of the Vancouver Canucks, who has also had a bunch of injury issues this year. He's only played 36 games and had 19 points. Now, he's got one hell of a shot, and he's decently defensively responsible as well. He's more of a bottom 6 guy, someone you put on that second power play. But I think if he gets at least 16 minutes a night, it's possible he could score 20 goals. I know. In that year where he played for both Vancouver and Toronto, he had 14, but he didn't play much with Toronto and the Maple Leafs, and then he was injured a lot this season. So we're looking at the Montreal Canadiens as a possibility for him, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Islanders, and the Buffalo Sabres, all of them who could use offensive depth on the left wing, and even on the power play too. Next player we got here is Eric Holla, currently of the Florida Panthers. I have to think for a second there because he was traded late in the season from the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, he's a center, but also plays left wing. He's 29. He's coming off a $2.75 million contract. He had a fantastic year for the Vegas Golden Knights before he was traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. But in a game against the Leafs, he hurt his knee, and he just sort of hasn't been the same since. He hasn't put up the same offensive numbers. But I think, if given the right opportunity, he could probably put up 20 goals again. Remember in 2017-18, he had 29 of them. Yeah. And for the most part, he seems to be somewhat okay defensively. So I've got 5 teams here that could be interested in this guy. The Edmonton Oilers could use him at center, maybe in that third line center spot, maybe even bump him to second. And he plays left wing too, as I mentioned. The Arizona Coyotes, the Montreal Canadiens, the Buffalo Sabres, the Minnesota North Stars, the Minnesota Wild, and the New York Islanders could all use this guy. Next player I got here is Alex Galchenyuk. He's a left winger, but he also plays center and even right wing. He's 26 years old. He's coming off a $4.9 million contract. He's been bounced around. He went from Montreal to Arizona, then to Pittsburgh, and now he's with the Wild in Minnesota. I think he stays there. I think there's a good chance. He's been doing well. So far in 14 games with them, he's had 7 points, 3 of them goals, and has been a +2. That's not much, but it's the first plus he's had in years. So looking at the teams that might be interested in this kind of a reclamation project, if he doesn't stick with the Wild, DJ Smith has been known for turning around players in Ottawa. There's the Columbus Blue Jackets, which could go either very wrong or very right with Tortorella. So that would be fun to see. That's more of a, hey, just please God, I just want to see what happens if he goes there, kind of, which is why I put him in that situation. The San Jose Sharks, I'm babbling. The San Jose Sharks could use a cheap guy who has potential. The Buffalo Sabres and the Edmonton Oilers I also have down on that list too. The last player I've got here is a defenseman, and he's one of the nastiest defense out there, and that's Radko Gudas, currently of the Washington Capitals. Now he's a right shot D. He's 30 years old. He's coming off a $3.35 million contract. If Toronto doesn't sink their nails into Pietrangelo, remember they'll be losing both Barry and Ceci. I could see them. I think this guy would be maybe second, maybe third, but as high as second on their list after Pietrangelo. Now, giving him that many minutes, playing him maybe with Morgan Rielly wouldn't be ideal because he's playing like around 16, 17 minutes in Washington right now, and he's had some of the best plus-minus in his career, and I'm talking about a +15 with them right now in 63 games. He's not going to put up points, but he clears the front of the net. He's a nasty checker. You have to watch out for him in the defensive zone. And the Leafs could use that kind of grease. So could the Vancouver Canucks because of their loss of Tanev. The Calgary Flames, who are losing a bunch of defensemen, could also use a little bit of nasty. The Vegas Golden Knights, he's a contender that he could be going to. You could see a reunion with the Philadelphia Flyers as well. I want to say, is it Braun who's leaving them? And then the Dallas Stars, who he kind of looks like Roman Polak and him could be cousins, couldn't they? and Gudas is kind of like, Roman Polak 2.0. So that's something to consider. Anyways, that's it. That's all for this video. Thank you so much again for watching. I'm going to put out another one because I think we still have another 20 or 30 more UFAs to talk about. But hit that like button if you like this video. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to let you know when my next video will be coming out. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.